When the people choose bread between bread and freedom, they ultimately lose everything, including bread. If the people choose freedom, they will have bread grown by themselves and not taken away by anyone. Even the best opportunities and willingness to help will amount to nothing if the nation itself does not choose and forge its destiny by its own struggle. Whoever builds on the worldview foundations that are not typical for our soil, he, even with goodwill and the best competition, will not build anything lasting. He will only multiply the ruins. Communism is completely against the spirit of the Ukrainian nation, separated by the border of death, but united by a bond of faith, ideas and love. The living and the dead can help each other before God and through God. There is no common language with Muscovites. Although what great sacrifices, the struggle final. Faith strengthens the soul's strength the most. In every ideological or political movement, two factors play the most important role: the idea and the person. Leading ideas and worldview principles in the ideological movement, and guiding program resolutions in the political, create the soul, being, inner content of the movement. People who recognize, spread and implement the ideas and program, and for that purpose take an active part in the movement, create its living, active organism. Our domestic political work is aimed at literally covering the entire citizenry in order to reach every Ukrainian, both involved and not involved in general public life equally, within the framework of that life, or outside it and independently of it. The most important thing is to gain direct influence, to include in our struggle the largest and most valuable part of them. Therefore, we take the entire mass of the people as the object of our political work. When a group bases its existence and its work on the Ukrainian side basically on the means and support of foreign factors, then it and its work become an expository of those factors in Ukrainian life. This happens naturally, regardless of whether it is recognized or hidden and denied. Because the whole work, its content, its direction, must be what the relevant sponsors want and agree to. Therefore, one of the main foundations of the Ukrainian liberation and revolutionary movement is the reliance of the liberation struggle on the Ukrainian people's own strength. All currents and groups that base their liberation struggle on the aid of Western countries and would like to adapt Ukrainian policy to their policy are unseemly fools. The ideological and political work of each political factor should be direct and immediate. In the national life, each environment must fulfill its specific function within such limits, forms and such means that it can manage on its own and which correspond to its actual influence in Ukrainian society. Every serious environment must conduct its activities under all internal and external conditions, regardless of other factors. Our victory is the victory of our idea, its full realization. Our duty is to do as much as we can, and at the same time to make efforts so that others do as much as possible. Competition has already become our natural environment. Struggle is the content of our life. It is impossible to make principles, political foundations from what is important only in one defined situation or as a matter of tactics. The fundamental policy is that we consistently move towards the main goal in the most successful, surest ways in all situations, with all changes, without deviating from it, implementing the same basic principle. The revolutionary competition is a national struggle in the sphere of spirituality, culture, socio-political and military struggle, for the complete destruction of the existing state, its content, and for the construction of a completely new under every consideration, a better state that meets the needs and wishes of the Ukrainian people. Even the best opportunities and willingness to help will come to nothing if the nation itself does not choose and forge its destiny by its own struggle. In any struggle and in any reasonable policy, the meaning is to achieve the main goal by sacrificing small, partial positions and values. This is what every victory, win consists of. And sacrificed, lost values are the price of victory. The greater the goal, the more difficult the competition, the greater the sacrifices. A nation enslaved by a foreign state can gain true and lasting liberation only by its own competition, by straining all its forces in a life and death struggle. Even the best opportunities and willingness to help will be of no use if the nation itself does not choose and forge its destiny by its own struggle. We now have one main principle, one main goal, the sovereign cathedral state of Ukraine. We go to her steadily. And our path is the path of revolutionary liberation struggle. It is the only one we have because it is the only certain and the only possible one. The imperialism of the Russian people is a phenomenon of the historical order that changes its forms and methods of action, but remains unchanged in its essence. We consider the Russian people to be an aggressor, so the sharpness of the Ukrainian anti-Russian front must not be blunted, nor can gossip spread among the Ukrainian people straight up. Without its own state, without liberation, and therefore without a liberation struggle, Ukraine cannot have either freedom, prosperity, or any shadow of democracy.